So next here we're going to look at an inflation example. So according to U.S. News and World Report, the cost per year at a private four-year college on average in U.S. is $41,411 in today's dollars. If the annual tuition inflation rate is 3.7%, I also Googled that, and this was for private four-year colleges, the recent tuition inflation rate. What will college cost in 20 years for your kids? And let's round the answer to the nearest $100. So we want to use the future value formula, and the only difference here is that our M, compoundings per year, if you're doing inflation, is 1. So it's 1 compounding per year. You don't adjust inflation more than once per year. So our start amount, we're going to take that 41,411. That's our start amount. Think of putting that in the bank at 3.7% for 20 years. So our periodic rate here, APR divided by M, is 0.037 divided by 1, which is still going to be 0.037. And then N, you get 20 years times 1 compounding per year, that's just 20. So let's go ahead and see what the future value of our tuition would be. So we got this 41,411, and then we're going to multiply that by 1 plus 0.037 is our R right here. And that is going to get a 20th power. And so if we round that, that's going to be 80 cents. So it looks like 85,642. So rounded, this would be 85,600. So $85,000, almost $86,000 a year. What in the world? How are you going to afford a college education for your kids? Well, you got to remember that your wages are going up at the same time. So let's think about what your wage would be starting out. So say an average college starting wage is $50,000. And then let's say that your average raise each year with inflation and then steps that you get, say that's 2.5% per year. So 0.025. We'll compound that for the same 20 years. So if we do that, we've got 81,930 and 82 cents. So you start out earning $50,000 a year. 20 years later, you're making almost double. Now, granted, college tuition has more than doubled, so it's going up faster, 3.7% versus 2.5%. So, and that's the problem, is that college tuition, like medical costs, have outpaced the increases in wages. So this is a complicated problem, college tuition increases. It depends a lot on state and federal funding. If state funding goes down, colleges have to, at least public universities especially, have to raise their tuition even more. And when state funding was cut a while back, some places in Illinois raised 8 to 10% per year. The private colleges not as much because they don't get direct state aid. And then some people, I've read articles, have said that, generous government loans and grants have been part of the problem of this going up so much. They've made it more affordable, and then colleges have said, oh yeah, we can raise tuition more because the government's given more aid. Net cost to the student isn't as high. So that could be part of the problem. Another part of the problem is that there's really no accountability for cost increases. So, for example here, I think it would be a good idea if the government would tie financial aid financial aid given for students and loans to students, that they would tie that to tuition increases. So if your increases were at or below the rate of inflation, then the college would receive all of their federal and state financial aid. But if you increased your tuition, say, twice the rate of inflation, then the federal government would say, we're not going for that. We're cutting you off. Your students get no federal financial aid. Of course, the retail cost, the sticker price of tuition, is not the net cost to the student. So you have to be careful and show that the net cost to the student after scholarships and stuff was what was not going up. Because some schools give very little scholarship financial aid, maybe 10%, and Olivet on average gives about 30% financial aid, 30% in tuition discounts and scholarships and things like that through the foundation and other means. So another solution that's been proposed is to tie financial aid to your occupation, to the demand in your occupation and your earning potential. So if you are getting a job that earns a whole lot of money, then you can get more financial aid than if you're getting a job that doesn't earn very much money. Let's hope that they find some good answers here. I'll tell you, it's not going to college professor salaries, at least not recently, because professors at Olivet make less than a lot of public institutions. And in fact, in recent years, Olivet and many other colleges, people have either not gotten pay increases. We've probably only got half of the years in the last 10 years. Olivet has not been able to raise salaries or give cost of living increases. So everywhere is starting to feel the pinch. And hopefully we find a good solution for this problem for your kids.